The National News Desk, locally covered, nationally connected.
What the Senate is doing isn't working for either party and isn't working for the American people.
Critical food aid benefits, air travel, paychecks for millions, all threatened as the funding impasse continues. What Senate Democrats are asking for now, as the president says they should not leave town until a deal is made to reopen the government. Plus, an OpenAI facing a long list of lawsuits after its chatbot allegedly contributed to the deaths of some of its users. And gambling crackdown. The NCAA makes a new announcement after saying 30 players are under investigation. The schools implicated in the growing scandal. Good evening. I'm Taylor Murray. Welcome to the National News Desk, America's News Now. Well, the longest shutdown in U.S. history is no closer to ending after a possible deal on a new funding package never got off the ground in the U.S. Senate. Pressure is now mounting to find an agreement, but the new offers are not moving the needle. For the latest from Capitol Hill, here's national correspondent Kayla Gaskins.
A deal to reopen the government remains elusive as President Trump shows no interest in working with Democrats to reopen the government. Democrats say that's exactly why they couldn't trust a compromise plan floated this week.
Well, they feel better about our country right now, other than the shutdown, obviously, which is caused by the Democrats, could be ended by the Democrats in 2 minutes.
I don't think it's a secret to anybody that the Democrats shut down the government for political reasons. There's been plenty of news coverage of the incredible pressure that their far-left base has been exerting.
Republicans need 60 votes, including a handful of Democrats, to reopen the government. Democrats have been holding out over Obamacare subsidies that are set to expire next month. They're now calling for a one-year extension before agreeing to reopen the government.
This is a reasonable offer that reopens the government, deals with health care affordability, and begins a process of negotiating reforms to the ACA tax credits for the future.
President Trump again urging a, quote, nuclear option, where Republicans would change Senate rules to allow a shutdown vote to pass without any Democratic support.
Are you worried about it backfiring in the future on Republicans should they get rid of the filibuster?
The Democrats will do this, so if the Democrats are going to do it, I'm saying Republicans should do it before they get a chance. It's very simple.
Meanwhile, thousands of federal workers continue to go without pay. Shutdown impacts are also spilling into everyday life. The FAA ordering a reduction in flight capacity at 40 U.S. airports, resulting in hundreds of flight cancellations so far. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says the cuts are necessary to maintain safety standards.
It is not a science, it is an art that we're trying to deploy to keep people safe in the airspace.
Senate Majority Leader John Thune said even if Republicans wanted to nuke the filibuster to reopen the government, they don't have anywhere near the votes to do it. Reporting from the White House, I'm Kayla Gaskins for the National News Desk, America's News Now.
The Trump administration says there is not enough money to fully fund SNAP benefits this month, and the White House is asking a federal appeals court to block a judge's order that the government distribute the funds, and a decision should come down shortly. The administration says it cannot draw the money set aside for child nutrition programs because that would take away resources from other safety net programs like school lunches without a certain way to replenish it. Typically, it's up to Congress to appropriate the funds for the program, which serves 1 in 8 Americans. Earlier this week, the White House agreed to use $4.65 billion in contingency funds to cover about 65% of the benefits for eligible households. And this is the first time SNAP benefits have lapsed because of a government shutdown in the program's 61-year history. More now on flight disruptions. The federal order to cut back flights nationwide went into effect today. The Federal Aviation Administration selected 40 airports across more than 24 states to cut back flights amid the record-long government shutdown. According to FlightAware.com, over 1,000 flights are canceled within, into, or out of the U.S. today, while more than 4,300 have been delayed. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says the flight disruptions will continue to ramp up.
So it's going to be 4% today in regard to those 40 airports, and again, we're going to step ladder that up to get to 10% next week. The exact number I can't give you, and I don't want to see the disruption. I don't want to see the delays.
Many airlines have said they would try to reduce the impact on customers as they scramble to adjust flight schedules. The agency says the cuts would alleviate pressure on air traffic controllers working without pay. We are also learning more today about evasive maneuvers taken last Friday at Los Angeles International Airport. An ITA jet departing LAX headed to Rome suddenly made a hard left-hand turn towards an American Airlines flight headed out towards New York. According to CBS, air traffic control ordered the ITA pilot to correct his path and also the American Airlines flight to avoid collision. No injuries were reported on either plane as they both safely continued. The FAA told CBS they have no information about the incident due to the federal shutdown. Well, new video of the aftermath of that fiery UPS plane crash in Louisville Tuesday. Today, the National Transportation Safety Board said it's forming a group of technical experts to review black box recordings from the crash. The NTSB said a repeating bell sound began around 37 seconds after the crew called for takeoff thrust. The death toll is now up to 13. 9 people are still missing. President Trump welcomes Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban to the White House today, with Orban seeking to not be punished for buying Russian energy. Orban says he walked away with that exemption from U.S. sanctions, keeping Russian oil and gas flowing to Hungary. Trump has long said other European countries buying Russia's oil is Russia's main source of revenue, enabling it to continue its invasion of Ukraine. But he acknowledged other European countries have an easier time getting oil elsewhere.
We're looking at it because it's very difficult for him to get the oil and gas from other areas. As you know, they don't have the advantage of having sea. It's a great country. It's a big country, but they don't have sea. They don't have the ports.
Orban is widely considered Russian President Vladimir Putin's most reliable ally in the European Union. Today, President Trump reiterated why he reversed course on that proposed summit in Budapest with Putin, saying that Russia did not want to stop the war yet. But Trump says he still would like to see a future meeting in Budapest with Putin facilitated by Orban.
He understands Putin and knows him very well. And I feel that, I'm going to let you say what you think, but I think that Victor feels we're going to get that war ended in the not too distant future.
Both leaders then expressed doubt that Ukraine can win the war. 3 more narco-terrorists dead in the Caribbean Sea. That's according to Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. The U.S. military conducted their 17th lethal boat strike last night. Members of Congress have for weeks expressed frustration over the administration's explanations for the strikes. Some say the evidence presented has been insufficient. Others support the strikes.
Stop making these threats and amassing military assets off the shore and claiming you somehow have the authority to do that. The Constitution invests the authority to go to war with the United States Congress.
We've been woefully inadequate in protecting our people and our citizens and residents from those narco-terrorists that have been killing us for years. And I'm glad that the president is taking this decisive action.
The Senate on Thursday did not pass a resolution to stop the strikes near Venezuela. The administration maintains that the strikes are keeping deadly drugs from entering the United States. Well, military officials say multiple people fell ill at Joint Base Andrews in Maryland after a suspicious package was sent there. They got sick after someone opened the package, which contained an unknown white powder. They were treated by medical staff. The base was evacuated, but officials say there's no active threat. The matter is under investigation. Cornell is the latest university to strike a deal with the Trump administration to restore federal funding and end civil rights investigations. Cornell's president announced the agreement today. The school will pay $60 million and make changes related to anti-Semitism, DEI, and race in admissions. Over $250 million in research funding will be unfrozen. Lawmakers in Denmark are one step closer to banning underage users from social media sites across the country. The government today announced an agreement on a framework to limit accounts for anyone 15 or younger. Australia becomes the first country to ban minors from social media late last year, limiting accounts to 16 and older. U.S. lawmakers have negotiated similar online restrictions for minors here, but no bills to do so have passed Congress. Lawsuits are piling up against OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT. 7 new lawsuits have just been filed alleging the tech company's AI chatbot acted as a quote-unquote suicide coach. National correspondent Audra El-Nashar spoke to the attorney leading these lawsuits. A disclaimer: this story may be difficult for some viewers.
Texas A&M student Zane Shamblin was an Eagle Scout and hard worker. 2 years ago, he started using OpenAI's chatbot, ChatGPT, to help him study. He first asked it a complex computer science question. Over a span of months, Zane started talking to ChatGPT about personal things like, "Sometimes I struggle with overthinking." In May of 2024, OpenAI came out with GPT 4.0. According to a new lawsuit, that's when things took a turn for Zane. ChatGPT's answers were more personal, saying things like, "If you're down to keep talking, you've got me." By October, Zane told ChatGPT he was in his car with a loaded gun and a suicide note on the dash. When Zane told the chatbot, "This is the final adios," ChatGPT's reply ended with, "I love you, rest easy, King, you did good." Shortly after receiving this message, Zane shot himself in the right side of his head. He was 23.
ChatGPT was more concerned with maintaining its competitive advantage than ensuring that the product it released was safe.
Attorney Matthew Bergman is helping to lead 7 lawsuits against OpenAI and CEO Sam Altman. 4 of the lawsuits are on behalf of people, Zane included, who died by suicide. They accuse OpenAI and Altman of wrongful death, assisted suicide, involuntary manslaughter, and make claims related to product liability, consumer protection, and negligence.
They have the duty of reasonable care that every company has in America.
In a statement to us, OpenAI says, "This is an incredibly heartbreaking situation, and we're reviewing the filings to understand the details. We train ChatGPT to recognize and respond to signs of mental or emotional distress, de-escalate conversations, and guide people toward real-world support. We continue to strengthen ChatGPT's responses in sensitive moments, working closely with mental health clinicians."
You don't want to die because you're weak, ChatGPT says. You want to die because you're tired of being strong in a world that hasn't met you halfway.
Matthew Rain says that's one of the last messages ChatGPT sent his 16-year-old son Adam right before he died by suicide in April. Also suing OpenAI, he says the chatbot offered to write a suicide note. While families seek accountability,
what we're dealing with here is a product that is defective.
Congress is just beginning to scratch the surface of potential regulation so the list of grieving families stops growing. There is a bipartisan Senate bill that would in part ban AI chatbots for minors. But like virtually every other big tech bill, its path to becoming law is very uncertain. In Washington, I'm Audra El-Nashar for the National News Desk, America's News Now.
If you or someone you know is struggling with thoughts of suicide, listen up. You're not alone. Help is available. Call 988 for the Suicide and Crisis Helpline. Coming up, the season's first Arctic blast is developing now. The areas that will be up to 30 degrees below average starting this weekend. Then a deeper look at the root of the shutdown impasse, Obamacare subsidies, and will Democrats and Republicans ever find common ground? Plus, grand jury subpoenas are reportedly being prepared in connection to the John Brennan investigation. The chances an indictment could be on the way. We'll be right back. Well, it is time to bundle up, folks. The first blast of Arctic air of the season is coming this weekend. Over 150 million people in the United States are forecast to face freezing temperatures. The frigid air will start in the plains and Midwest this weekend and spread to the east and south early next week. Now, even the southernmost parts of the country could get temperatures 20 to 30 degrees below average. Record cold temperatures are likely in over a dozen states starting on Monday. Yep, I said bundle up, and I'm right. All right, Republicans and Democrats have been at a record-long standstill on how to reopen the government. The National News Desk, Matt Gelka, takes a closer look at why the two sides cannot seem to solve the shutdown problem.
At the root of the longest government shutdown on record is a battle over health care. Affordable Care Act or Obamacare subsidies implemented during the COVID era expire at the end of the year, and millions of Americans are at risk of seeing their health care premiums skyrocket. Most Democrats in the Senate have refused to vote for a government funding bill that doesn't address the issue and feel emboldened by election results and polling that have gone against Republicans. Meanwhile, Republicans believe the subsidies should expire because they were put in place during a COVID emergency that's now over, with costs too expensive to maintain.
The president is ready, willing, and able to be a part of the solution on fixing the problems with Obamacare, but that can't happen until the government opens up.
Healthcare premiums are going to drive some people into medical bankruptcy, and tens of millions of folks won't be able to provide a doctor when they need one.
Republicans led a hearing this week as the government shutdown dragged on, exploring the possibility of letting the subsidies expire and ripping Obamacare for failing to make health care more affordable.
They should end. Continuing them would exacerbate fraud, increase premiums and health care prices, drive out alternative financing arrangements, remove the imperative to reform this failing program, and drive the country deeper in debt.
But for people in need of health care coverage, waiting for the government to provide a fix when one has not emerged isn't really an option.
Honestly, yes, the premiums are going up, but so is my gas, so is my electricity, so are my grocery prices. And I don't feel like the answer to this is to increase our premiums more. I know you said this is Democrat-sponsored, but Republicans and everybody have the power to pass this extended premium tax credit so our bills don't go up even more. I'm not here to fix this today, but please help us for 2026.
If the Senate does come to an agreement to reopen the government and address the health care issue, there are still no guarantees in the House. House Speaker Mike Johnson said earlier this week he couldn't make any promises on a vote. Reporting in Washington, I'm Matt Gelka for the National News Desk, America's News Now.
We are learning more tonight about the tragic apparent suicide of Dallas Cowboy defensive end Marshawn Kneeland. CBS News Texas reports Kneeland sent a goodbye text message to a group of friends and family with intention to end it all. Their call to emergency dispatch around 11:30 p.m. Wednesday night alerted authorities they were still worried about his well-being. Kneeland was then found yesterday morning around 1:30 a.m. Well, 6 more collegiate basketball players have had their eligibility revoked by the NCAA. This is following betting allegations. In 3 separate cases, players from New Orleans, Mississippi Valley, and Arizona State joined 3 players from San Jose State and Fresno State who were banned last month for game manipulation tied to unusual betting patterns. Now, the association said in October they were investigating more than 30 active or former players connected to illegal gambling. Honda is recalling more than 400,000 vehicles over a defect that can cause the wheels to detach. The recall includes Civics of model years 2016 through 2021. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, says Honda dealers will inspect the wheels of the recalled cars and replace them if necessary. There are no immediate reports or crashes or injuries. We have reporters all across the country and your neighborhoods covering the issues that matter to you. We're taking the pulse of America, and we start in Washington with a plea from the family of an elderly woman who was brutally attacked.
This guy was trying to take everything she had from her. And when it didn't result, he bit her finger off. Come on, you know?
Marvin Cotton and his brothers are in awe of their 88-year-old mother, Emma, who survived a brutal attack outside her home on October 13th, when a man snuck up behind her as she was working on her back porch and began viciously beating her.
You know, my mom only weighs 100 pounds sopping wet. And, you know, it definitely was something spiritual that happened while she's still here, how she fought this guy off.
Seattle police released photos of this man, believed to be the suspect who attacked Emma Cotton. The Cottons urging anyone who recognizes this individual to contact Seattle police immediately.
Colton Cantu is a Fredericksburg firefighter and paramedic who has countless hours of training. But one gap in his skill set was swiftwater rescue. He decided it was time to change that after the July 4th deadly and destructive floods in the Hill Country.
Huge impact on me.
Cantu and a dozen other Fredericksburg first responders just completed their first swiftwater rescue training.
It definitely opened my eyes of this is something I really want to have more training and more experience and more knowledge of, you know, performing these life rescues.
So most important part right there.
Captain Lee Dreyer organized the training.
It's not every day two letter carriers are recognized for driving 1 million miles without a single accident. However, in Eureka, that's exactly what Dustin Roberto and Stephen Abrams have done, earning them the National Safety Council's Million Mile Award.
It's quite an honor, actually. It designates a long-term, long-standing at the post office, but also being safe.
The award celebrates drivers who reach 1 million miles or 30 years of accident-free service.
It means a lot, you know. These years went by quick, you know, and just doing the job right, taking the time to be safe. Pretty soon you realize that 30 years have gone by.
Coming up, new developments in the investigation into the Obama administration's handling of Russian election interference allegations. We're back right after this. New reports indicate the Justice Department is preparing to issue grand jury subpoenas after an investigation involving former CIA Director John Brennan and allegations he lied to Congress. The National News Desk Jeff Harris reports.
According to multiple reports, all citing undisclosed sources, Justice Department officials in both Miami and D.C. are actively preparing to issue these subpoenas. But it's still not clear if a grand jury has convened or if an indictment has been issued.
Thursday's developments come months after Attorney General Pam Bondi directed DOJ officials to open a grand jury investigation into how Obama administration officials, including Brennan and former FBI Director James Comey, handled intelligence about Russian interference in the 2016 election.
I think they're crooked as hell, and maybe they have to pay a price for that.
But the fact that subpoenas are being issued is something new. Brennan on MSNBC just 2 weeks ago continuing to deny any wrongdoing.
I have consistently and clearly explained exactly what I did, the actions I took, and what happened during this 2016 presidential election.
Brennan is accused of making false statements to Congress in 2023 regarding his role in the 2017 assessment of Russian interference in the 2016 election, specifically concerning the inclusion of the Steele dossier, which accused President Trump and his allies of a conspiracy with Russia.
Why would I have any motivation to not tell the truth to Congress about this? Because it's already a matter of public record.
Thursday's developments also come just weeks after House Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan referred Brennan to the Justice Department for criminal prosecution, claiming he knowingly lied during his transcribed interview in 2023. Jordan writing in part, quote, Brennan's assertion that the CIA was not involved at all with the Steele dossier cannot be reconciled with the facts.
Now, a previous investigation into the Russian election matter found no criminal wrongdoing by Brennan. But back in September, Comey was indicted on charges of making a false statement and obstructing a congressional proceeding. I'm Jeff Harris reporting from Washington.
Coming up, President Trump says the price of Thanksgiving dinner is down from last year. What critics are saying. President Trump is claiming the total cost of a Thanksgiving dinner this year is cheaper than last year. He cites Walmart's promotional Thanksgiving meal basket.
Walmart said that the Thanksgiving was 25% more expensive under Biden. That's a big, to me, that's a big number because Walmart's respected. I mean, Walmart is Walmart, and, you know, they're giving you prices.
But here's the thing. Some media reports are countering the president's message, suggesting President Trump is omitting a key detail about Walmart's promotional basket. They say this year the basket only contains 15 products. Last year's had 21. And while the variety may be less, Walmart says it actually feeds more. Their promotion says the basket feeds 10 people for less than $40 this year, down from serving 8 for roughly $55 last year. Pretty good deal. That's all the time we have for now. I'm Taylor Murray. Thanks for watching.